Well, hi there. I'm going to show you how to do my Jasmine stitch. And this is it. And it's quite a pretty stitch. It looks like little flowers. Or might look like something else that's got a wonderful texture. So you can see all the texture here. The back looks like this. Okay. And this is a stitch video. So I'm using a loom out of one of the circle sets. And did I remember how many pegs this has? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so it's got a little over 20 pegs. So what it is it's that size down. So it's still 3/4 inch, but it's moving towards 5/8 because as those sets go down, they get a little bit narrow. But it's one of the circle sets like Nifty Knitter. Get them at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or on the internet on Amazon where they have the circle sets where they have big and going down. Okay, and the yarn I'm using is a bulky yarn. It's Hayfield Spirit Chunky, shade 405. And it is a mix of, oh, no, it's not a mix. It's 100% acrylic. Okay, not mixed at all. 100% acrylic, I think. Hard to read it. Oh, no, it's got a little bit of wool in it. 20% wool. Anyway, there it is, and the rest is acrylic, and the colors are really pretty, kind of autumn type colors. You can see that there's oranges, there's a little bit of a burgundy kind of purple, more towards purple color, and the oranges and yellow and whatever. It's really quite a pretty color. Where I'm starting it, I've got mostly this orange and yellow color. Okay, so that's the yarn, and it's a thinner bulky. It's not really very thick. See, not very thick, bulky. Okay, so that's the yarn. And here's the loom hook I'm going to use. And this loom hook, they don't make anymore, but they have similar ones on Etsy. If this is the kind of loom hook it's a little bit wider, and I find them comfortable. And I will get questions. I wanted to say that right away. Okay, so now the thing here is it's stitch video, so I don't really show you how to make it, but I was fooling around with this when I was doing up this stitch to see how it looked in this yarn, and I decided to use something else to see how it looked. So I'm going to tell you about the edge and the border that I'm using here, because you may not be familiar with this edge or this border. But it's one I knew from needle knitting. Okay. So anyway, how I got this to come up, this is the edge. So I did a chain cast on, so this is the edge. It would be at the bottom if I hadn't done it so that it would curl up to the top to make a border. And how I did that was I did the cast on, and then I did a row of purl, and that makes it come forward, and it gives you this kind of a border on the outside, and this is the cast on edge just turning up. I sometimes do this also on the brim of hats, and you get that nice edge on the top of the brim. Okay, so it's just a technique. And then this technique at the sides, I did the same thing because I put a purl here. So I've marked the pegs, 2 pegs here, and every time you come to this peg here, you purl. Second peg in, that's the end peg. Every time you come to the second peg in here, you purl. And what happens then is it takes the edge and it bends it forward. So what you're seeing here is the edge bent forward. And then how it looks on the back, because you did the purl, is you have a row of knit on the back. And you have a nice edge. So that's one of the ways of doing it, and it's what you do sometimes when you just want to have a little bit of a curl control or just a nice border. So you don't have to do this. You could do my owl eye border that I have on a lot of stitches, where these 2 pegs would be owl eye, 2 or 3 pegs in even, to get a bigger border, and you could do owl eye here at the border. But when I cast off of this, what I would do is do a row of purl and then do my cast off that matches the chain cast on, and it would curl forward and it would match, and I'll have those linked on the channel. So you just go to the description and scroll down, and you'll see where my links are for on every video pretty much for the cast on and the cast off I would use. Okay, so it's really that easy. And so I will show you when we get back to this edge. I've already done the edge, but it's a 2-row stitch. I'll show you how we do those edges. It's pretty easy. Both edges are done exactly the same. But like I say, you don't have to do these edges. I was just playing around. I'm not even sure if I would do this on a project, but it does look pretty cool. I like it. Okay, so anyway, row 1. Okay, now what I do, I'm going to show you this too. Okay, this stitch is called Jasmine Stitch, so I wrote the stitch name there, and then I wrote the 2 stitches that make up the Jasmine Stitch. Number 1 stitch, I'm always going left to right. So when I put the name of that stitch, I know from the direction I'm going which stitch I'm doing, because I can look on here and go, okay, to the left will be that first stitch. To the right will be that second stitch. And so I never forget what stitch I'm doing. Just makes it very, very handy. And I just have it clipped on with one of these little plastic pins you get at craft stores or on Amazon. Okay, so now because I'm going to the left, the stitch I'm going to do is my number 2 stitch on here. Okay, so it's a 2-row stitch, and it doesn't matter which stitch you do first as long as you're always doing the same stitches. Okay, so when I'm going to the left, I'm going to do the roses and chain stitch. Okay, so this is my roses and chain stitch, and this is how to do it. You go over in a U-wrap, knit off. You come back in a U-wrap the wrong way and knit off. Then you come back again the right way and knit off. That easy. Take the working yarn, go in front, U-wrap, knit off. Back around. Yeah, I'm sorry, it got a little dark for some reason. My light keeps coming off. A little bit of power problems here. Excuse me. So we come back to the left. Bring this a little closer. There, it came back on. Come back to the left, knit off, come back to the right, knit off. That's all you have to do. So you go over in the U-wrap, knit off, come back around, knit off, and back around again, and knit off. So U-wrap going to the right way, the way we're going, U-wrap going the other way, and U-wrap coming back this way. Okay, so another way to say it is we're going to wrap in front of the peg, nice and loose. I've got it coming quite a ways around. Don't want to get too tight. Coming back around the other way, and coming in front of it again, wrapping around in front, getting it off. So we're always in front of the peg. We're always knitting to the front. The yarn stays to the front of the peg all the way through with this stitch. Okay, that easy. You want to watch the stitch being done, more roses and chain stitches on my channel. There we go. Okay, and last one. This one's a little tight. Okay. All right, then when we get to this peg, we're always going to purl if we're doing this particular border. So I'm going to purl this one. Oop, splitting the yarn here. I am in an awkward position. I don't usually knit the way I do when I make a video. It's always a bit awkward. Okay, snug it up a little bit, and then I'm just going to do a U-wrap here and knit it over, and I'm slipping this stitch. And come back and do the purl again. And that's what we do on the other end too. Sorry, we lost the light again. I think we have a storm coming or something, and something's happening with the power. Hopefully you can see it. Should come back on again. And we'll get closer so you can see it. Okay, so when we're going this way, and there it comes back. It's fighting to come back. But it's still fighting to come back, but it hasn't come back. Okay, so when we go this way, we're going to do the juniper stitch. I'm getting nice and close so you can see it. So we go over the peg and behind and over it again. Okay, I'll show you that again. We go in front and then in front again. So we now have 3 loops of yarn on here. Okay, both the first and the second are the working yarn. Then we're going to take the working yarn on the second stitch and the loop that was on there and knit them off. That's the juniper stitch. Okay, so we're going to go over and around, and we're going to knit that off. Okay, in front, around and in front, knit it off. Around and in front again, and knit it off. Get this so there's a little more light here. The overhead light is working, so anyway, in front and around and in front, knit it off. In front, around and in front, knit the 2 bottom over the top. Okay, now make sure that you always knit the 2 over the top. If you were to knit the bottom one over the top, you're just going over this working yarn, so you'd have this really loose thing happening there, right? So what we're doing is knitting the 2 over the top, wrapping it twice, knitting the 2 over the top. When we get here, we do the purl. I'm so sorry that it got dark, but there's nothing I can do about it when that happens. Okay, and then I'm going to E-wrap it, come back because I'm slipping that stitch, do the purl again because I'm on that second peg. Now that light does not want to come back on, does it? Okay, and then when I'm going this way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and do the roses and chain stitch. So we go over, knit it, come back, knit it over, and come back, always in front of the peg. Okay, in front going the wrong way, in front going the right way. Okay, so that's all it is. It's a series of U-wraps going this way, coming back over, always in the front of the peg, and coming back over, always in the front of the peg. Very easy stitch. I'm just going to put you on pause and see if I can add a little more light so it isn't as dark with a flashlight or something. Just hold on. Okay, I've added a little bit of light in so we're not quite so dark, because I don't think the power is going to come back on there. Okay, so now we can see better too. So we're going to go over in a U-wrap, come back over this way, and come back over this way. Okay, over in a U-wrap, come back over in the U-wrap, come back over in front again in the U-wrap, and that's all there is to it. Go over, come back over again, and then come back over again. And then we're at the 2 marked pegs. So right here, we're going to purl. If I can get this yarn to come up for me. There we go. And we purl. We slip the stitch. We do a E-wrap. Come back and purl again. Okay, and I'll show you how to do the stitch one more time with a little bit better light. Okay. Okay, so we're going to do the juniper stitch and knit it off. So the juniper stitch again is you wrap over from behind and wrap over it again. Knit the 2 bottom over the top, snug it up slightly, go in front, come around again in front to work 2 yarn on the bottom, go over the top. Okay, so that's all there is to this. Now I'm going to go see what I can do about the power. Probably make a phone call or something. Okay, so now we would do the purl stitch and then we would slip again here. So that's all I'm going to do. So then we would stretch out. You know, if you came to the end, you're going to stretch this out every way you can stretch it to set your stitches. And so here's what it looks like. A really pretty stitch. Okay, with those sides coming forward like that. Okay. It's quite a stretchy stitch. And it works in the round. It looks a bit different. I actually think I like it better in the round, but it looks really nice as a flat panel too. So there it is. That's the Jasmine stitch. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope I got enough light on it finally so you could see both those stitches done after I had that problem with power. And until next time, bye.